rocking around the Christmas tree.
I'm a ho-ho-ho for the Rick and Dave's Comic Book Hour. You should join me as I sit on Santa's lap. This is Rick and Dave's Q&A. I'm Agent Carter. I bring the TNA. Today's question. When Bucky Barnes acts as Captain America after the death of Steve Rogers, what S.H.I.E.L.D. agent briefly serves as his partner? Stay tuned for the answer.
Hey, welcome to Rick and Dave's Comic Book Hour. I'm Dave.
And I'm Rick.
I want to wish you a Merry Christmas. And this issue we are going to do a retro review. I'm going to take you all the way back to the 80s. And y'all remember the 80s? But anyway, we're going to cover some Fantastic Four runs. We're going to talk a little bit about the John Byrne run. I picked up some books at, where was it? Tom's.
When did the John Byrne run start?
232.
232. So this marked a brand new era in Fantastic Four, didn't it, Dave?
Yes.
Because before that, the Fantastic Four was kind of going downhill, you thought?
Yeah, I think the stories were okay, but they weren't like not a whole lot of oomph into them or whatever.
Right.
So.
And in a way, Byrne took them back to the Kirby era, in a way, with the Thing, right?
Yeah.
Because he made the Thing look like he did back in the day.
Well, yeah, there's one storyline that we're going to talk about a little bit that touched on that, where Reed was once again trying to cure Ben of his thingness and turn him so he can revert to being human again, and well, the experiment didn't go quite right, so he kind of looked like the moldy lava, I don't know, kind of moldy looking or lumpy thing, as opposed to the rocky version that we're all kind of used to.
Yeah. So, but when did the Byrne run at? When did the Byrne run end?
You would ask me that too.
Oh, roughly.
Roughly in the, I think it was the 280s, 280 something.
Okay.
Because then
so he had quite a big run on the Fantastic Four.
Yeah, he had at least a good about 60 or so issue run, I think it was.
And as many of you know, John Byrne was seemed to be a hit or miss on some of the series that he did, and Fantastic Four was one of his hits. Probably one of his hits.
Yeah, it was probably his first big solo hit.
Yeah. So
drawing, inking, and writing for that run. So.
But anyway. But right now we're going to focus in on a few issues, on a story arc he did in that, and it's going to start in what issue?
242.
And it has to deal with Terrax.
Yeah.
And in this issue, Terrax, at this time, he is the
Herald of Galactus.
Yes, and he's come back to to the Fantastic Four to help him out.
Yeah. So here's look at that. So this is a really cool story. I mean, you got Terrax coming back. He's wreaking all kinds of havoc, and they got to stop him. And so it's kind of some, I don't know, classic battle, because Terrax is just leveling New York City in a sense, and chops off the top of the Baxter building.
Or his axe, man. Yeah. That was badass.
So now all of Galactus's heralds have a power over one of the four elements, and his happens to be Earth. And so he picks up Lower Manhattan, literally, up out of the ground and sends it into space.
Yeah.
So it took the Invisible Girl to put a force field around the whole place so everybody didn't go shooting off into space and suffocating. But then we had a confrontation with the Torch and the Thing and Mr. Fantastic and Terrax on top of the Baxter building. So part of no, it wasn't Baxter building. It was the two Twin Towers.
Yeah.
So because they were sticking up out of the force field, so they were having a conversation up there. And Galactus was heading back to Earth to eat it, and we couldn't let that happen, of course. And we got guest stars like Thor and Spider-Man and Iron Man and Daredevil and all that in it. So then the next issue, we have Galactus coming to Earth. And this here is probably one of my all-time favorite covers. Well, probably maybe we'll have Rick get a better look at those, but it's got Galactus battling 8 of the Earth's mightiest superheroes, everybody from Doctor Strange to Wasp, Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, and the Fantastic Four. So, and as they're battling him, Galactus is shrinking because he's losing power.
Yeah.
And so his size kind of depends on
How much energy he has.
how much
right?
energy he's eaten or sucked up, and so forth. So they basically whittle him down to nothing, but then of course they realize that they get just outright and let him die. They have to
Yeah, they have
they have to save him.
conscience, which is one of those dilemmas. Do you save the guy? I mean, here he is, a guy that can eat your planet. Do you save him, or do you let him die, and that way you have to worry about him anymore?
Yeah,
But they decide to let him live.
yeah, because they figured he's a natural force of the universe, and he does what he does because that's what he does. And whether it's good or bad, and try to steer him away from inhabited planets, but that doesn't always work, of course.
Right.
As for those of you who know, eventually after this story takes place, he eventually eats the Skrull throne world and just the Skrull Empire into all kinds of havoc, and they get all pissed off and blame the Fantastic Four because they let him live.
Exactly.
So then let's see, the last part of the story, he gets himself a new herald. And so if you read some of the previous issues, we're introduced to a character named Frankie Ray, who is kind of the female Human Torch, as we find out. She I don't think she initially has superpowers when we first meet her, and I think I'm missing a couple issues to figure out exactly how that came about. I've read them, but that was like 20 years ago and can't remember all the details, obviously. But so she sacrifices herself to save Earth, kind of like the Silver Surfer. So it's like, if I become your herald, you leave Earth alone.
Well, I think she wanted to become the herald.
Well, yeah,
She really sacrificed herself because she was, because they left her behind when they went to go battle, and she felt left out. Because I know that. Plus, you have to remember that Johnny Storm and them had like a relationship, and that Johnny didn't want her to leave, but she's trying to find her place in the world.
Yeah.
And I think eventually she says, well, I'm going to be his herald because that's what I think that's what I need to be.
Yeah, she feels that's her calling, I guess, is to something bigger and better. And
Yeah, because
whatnot, and so
she don't want to be left behind or always be protected by Johnny Storm. She wanted to be able to do her own thing in a way.
yeah. So she had that dilemma going on. If you
Plus, maybe she'll be
so,
able. She was hoping that maybe she'd be able to steer Galactus away from inhabited worlds and that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, that was part of the deal, I think, if I remember correctly reading that she'll try to find him world suitable but not
yeah.
populated, but that may not always worked out. But anyway, so
So that
Galactus.
kind of Tarek's happy that he has a new herald now.
Yeah. Makes Galactus happy that he has a new herald, not Terrax.
Yeah. Well, Tarek's is happy he's not a good herald anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, because he didn't really care to be a herald. He's the most evil herald that Galactus had up to this point.
That's why he was at the Earth trying to break his bond with Galactus.
Yeah.
But anyway, this Frankie Ray becomes a new character, doesn't she? After she becomes a
Yeah, she becomes a herald, and they call her Nova. I believe.
yeah.
So she has enough power, and since Galactus was kind of depowered, he needed a little spark, and so she flamed on, and he enhanced her and made her into Nova, and she was his herald for quite a while. I can't remember exactly what brought the end of that, because I know she might have to read the Silver Surfer run that was in the 90s to figure that out. But at any rate, so this is John Byrne's era of comics. Was really fun to read because he actually took the Fantastic Four on adventures where they're exploring, where they're dealing with aliens, and and of course in this case they have to save the world and whatnot. So if you get a chance to pick up some of these books, ones I've been picking up, I've maybe paid $2 for a couple of them, but most of them have been $1.
Yeah.
So, and this is probably, to me, the funnest run of Fantastic Four that I can remember. I have read a whole lot of the Byrne, or the Kirby and Lee Fantastic Fours. I read a few of them, but not enough to kind of totally get the sense of it. But some of the books I've bought since then, I've read that, and they've done some Negative Zone adventures and stuff like that that are pretty cool. And so they kind of purposely go out and explore stuff, you know, instead of just playing superhero all the time. But of course, they end up playing superhero whenever they go exploring anyway. So
This is one of our shows that we're going to be doing where you might not collect the title, but there is a run, if you're a collector, that you should buy.
yeah,
You should add to your collection because it enhances it and it's a good storyline. This is one of those things you should probably at one time or another start getting at least a Byrne run of the Fantastic Four.
yeah. If you don't want to, if you're not like a Fantastic Four junkie, but you like the characters enough, that, I mean, there's 60 issues, and you probably, and I've even also found that there's omnibus trade backs that are strictly John Byrne run that you can buy. I think there's one or two of them out there. So if you want to buy that instead of buying the individual comics, it'll probably cost you about the same, I suppose.
Yeah.
But
still, it's one of those runs that you should own if you're a collector
yeah,
because it's a key run. It's a nice run, and we'll be bringing you more in the future of runs that you should own, even if you don't collect that character, and
Yeah.
and we'll get to those later.
yeah.
But right now,
Teasing anything what we might be talking about?
who knows? There could be a Thor run in there someplace,
Maybe
a Spidey run,
a
a
Daredevil run.
Could be anything.
Yeah. So you know, if you're a collector,
Superman run somewhere in there.
yeah, collector, you know, you don't necessarily.
This is Agent Carter, and I'm back with the answer to today's Q&A. The answer is Black Widow. Did you guess that correctly? We'd like to know. Leave us a comment down below.
You know, like I'm kind of obsessed with trying to get as many Amazing Spider-Man comics as I can, just to get the whole run. But if you don't want to do that, you can like focus in on a good, you know, 50, 60 issue run or whatever, 30 issue run or whatever the case may be, and then you have a good block of really cool stories.
At least in our opinion.
So anyway, anything else?
Nope, that's about it.
No? Well, Merry Christmas.
Talk to you later.
Bye.
Hey there, gang. Janet J here. I was naughty on Santa's lap, and look what he got me for Christmas.